In 2019, a 75-year-old man was killed when he tripped and then was attacked by an oversized bird. His name was Marvin Hajos, Hajos, and he raised many different animals on his farm, including exotic birds. One of these birds was a cassowary. After Marvin tripped and fell, the 200-pound bird then attacked him, and he succumbed to his injuries, dying in the hospital later. They still don't have concrete proof that the actual attack is what did Marvin in, but the attack by the bird definitely is what speed ran poor old Marvin to the pearly gates. Welcome back to Draconic, where we realize dinosaurs aren't really gone, and if it weren't for the pink brains inside of our heads, they'd probably be the dominant species on this planet. It's kind of terrifying. So what really happened to Marvin Hajos? Like, how did he get killed? How could a bird kill a man? Well, cassowaries aren't a typical bird. In fact, to call them a bird is almost an insult to their existence. They're actually more akin to living legends, dangerous yet beautiful reminders of a prehistoric age. The cassowary itself is a ratite, which, I'll explain what that is in a second, but they are most known for their presence in Australia. Most cassowary-like videos or even mentions of cassowaries are most likely you've heard about them being in Australia. But just because they're most known in Australia doesn't mean they do live in other regions. They are a rainforest type bird. Ratites themselves are birds with a flat breastbone. Because of this, even if cassowaries and their cousins, kind of emus and other kind of ratites, even if they had ample wings big enough to fly, they could still never fly because of this unique bone structure. Emus have the very same bone structure, also being ratites, like I just said. Cassowaries live in dense rainforests, i.e. northeastern Australia or New Guinea and its surrounding islands. Honestly, they probably live there so that there's plenty of brush to ambush unsuspecting humans. Clever girls. Like stated in the beginning crawl with poor Marvin, who was attacked to death, cassowaries are very large. Southern cassowaries, which is the most common of the species, can be up to 5 to 6 feet tall. Some tall birdies. Some very tall birdies. They got hops. They got mad hops. Like, actually mad hops. The Killia mad hops. The kind of Killia mad hops, yes. Even the dwarf cassowary, the kind of smaller of the species, can get up to 3 feet tall, which, just for reference, picture of Goose. My goose Gustav, who honks obnoxiously in some of my videos, which you might have heard. But his species is a African goose, and they get up to 3 feet tall. So just for reference, boom. It's not an impressive height, but honestly, with the amount of attacks I have succumbed to due to this goose, I would not want to be a cassowary in the wild that is actually, has real weapons that can kill you. Hell no. But also kind of cool. I mean, honestly, if I was to die, going out via cassowary would be pretty cool. Yeah, sure. You gotta go. Go in style? Go in bird style? Bird style. Right. They are also the heaviest bird in Australia, gaining up to 170 to 200 pounds. The 200-pound mark is usually for entrapped animals. I would say entrapped. Fuck, I can't do what the goddamn word is. Domesticated, whatever the word is. You can't really domesticate birds because they're just wild animals. They're like cats. There's no really way to domesticate them, but domesticated birds that are, kept alive via human interference can be up to the 200-pound range, which is the bird the size of the one that killed Marvin. 200 pounds. I'm not even 200 pounds, and I feel like it sometimes, but That's insane that a bird of all things, like birds have like hollow bones, don't they? Yeah, so you know it's not their bone density or anything, it's just muscle mass? Uh, Muscle mass, I guess? I don't know. They're heavy, is what I'm saying. Even the dwarf cassowary weighs about 60 pounds. And in case you're thinking, well, that's not very much, the standard weight of your average 5-year-old male child is 44.1 pounds. So even this dwarf cassowary, the smaller of the species, is probably heavier than a 5-year-old child. And it could probably kill your 5-year-old child. Oh, no doubt, dude. I don't want to look up. We never looked that up, but God forbid we look up like how many children have been killed by cassowaries. They're like, oh, it's Kevin from Up. Oh my God. And they go over there and they get absolutely fucking decked. Currently, there are 3 separate categorical species of cassowaries. And each of these 3 are hypnotizingly pretty, too. There is the southern cassowary, which is painted with this kind of blazing red and blue, and typically they are the biggest, I think, of the species, and they have like the largest crests or casques. The dwarf cassowary, which its colors range from blue and red to blotches of orange and red. They usually are all kind of blue tinted skin, with just varying of very pretty colors. I think this dwarf cassowary, the dwarf cassowary kind of inhibits both of the northern and southern cassowary in the way that it has orange and red and blue, and well, it's just very pretty, but it's also just kind of cool that it's like mommy, daddy, baby. Then we have the newest discovered species, which I just mentioned, the northern cassowary, which has very similar colors to the southern cassowary, but it has a smaller beak. Bill, I meant bill, not beak, bill. What's the difference? I have no idea, actually. A 4th species is actually, and quite sadly, gone from this world, the extinct pygmy cassowary. Rest in peace, little guy, rest in peace. Despite them being deemed the world's most dangerous bird, cassowaries very rarely attack humans, much like a lot of wild animals. Unless they're hungry or defending their chicks, which, cassowaries don't eat people, but we're getting to that. They don't really attack humans. However, in that aforementioned scenario where they are provoked, they can inflict serious and sometimes fatal injuries to humans and more so pets, which apparently dogs are a regular target of these massive birds, which doesn't surprise me. I mean, cassowary versus dog, not going to typically end well. No, not when you see what they're packing. No, wait till you see what they're packing. Still, even with this all being said, statistically, ostriches are the more dangerous of the birds, considering that they actually kill 1 to 2 people a year in Africa, in places in Africa. So, you think that the bad guy is the cassowary, that's like your Saruman, and then, but it turns out it's Sauron is the big baddie, which is, ostrich. Ostrich. But the question is, that everyone's probably been thinking, how do cassowaries inflict such extreme damage? Why are they so dangerous? Well, I got an easy answer for you. Watch Jurassic Park. I'm not even joking. Watch that movie and you'll understand why. On a cassowary's foot, there are 3 toes. The inner toe, or the first toe, has a dagger-like claw that can get up to 5 inches long. Since cassowaries, like many flightless birds, leap kick to attack their prey, this is right in the area of a human's chest or stomach. So just imagine those 5-inch claws getting absolutely like a hit with a train that has a bunch of spikes on it. Like, it's not they're dangerous, is what I'm saying. They're very dangerous if provoked. They have very powerful legs, too. They can run up to 30 miles per hour, and they can jump up to 4 feet high, right in a child's head range. As if that wasn't terrifying. As if everything that I have just said is not terrifying enough. Cassowaries also use these very powerful legs to propel themselves through water. They are able to cross wide rivers and even swim around in the sea. So, water ain't saving ya. Lucky for us, cassowaries are frugivores, or creatures that eat majority fruit. Don't worry, I didn't know that's what fruit animals were called either. They're called frugivores, apparently. There is another word for it. Don't feel stupid. I didn't know either. Cassowaries, strangely, do not have any tongues, but they do have these very pointed, very sharp beaks for picking up fruits as they walk along, and berries and seeds and stuff. But just because they eat fruit does not mean this nightmarish bird is done tormenting your dreams. You want another terrifying fact? Cassowaries are immune to poison. Well, some of them. Some of them at least are. Which, considering everything that we have just talked about, I am... having some of them just be immune to poison is enough for me to be nope. How do they do this? Well, cassowaries have a very short gastrointestinal tract. This does two things. Number one, it allows these birds to eat supposedly poisonous fruits or poisonous seeds without absorbing the poison, because the gastrointestinal tract is so short that it just goes in the mouth and out the butt. They absorb the nutrients, but not the poison. That is because poison is taking a longer time to seep into the bloodstream. And number two is a kind of a bit of a cooler and, less horrifying fact, is that because of this gastrointestinal tract being so short, the seeds that come out the other end are relatively unharmed, which means that the places where these cassowaries live, rainforests, they are extremely pertinent to these environments because they just literally travel along eating stuff and then pooping it out and basically diversifying rainforests, and basically being their own cultivators in a way, where they just eating and shitting, they're populating the rainforest. So that's kind of cool. They're environmentalists. Hey, look at that. Most people that, well, I don't want to say it. Go ahead. Go on. I was just gonna say, most people that are environmentalists, they do want to take your head off. Enough said, man. Enough said. As for behaviors, cassowaries are quite shy. Like with many birds, the female of the species is far bigger and more aggressive than the male of the species. Female cassowaries are kind of like gypsies, and that's the polite word I'm going to use. During mating season. They're like gypsies during mating season. Because female cassowaries, they do the whole song and dance of the male impressing the female, and then they lay the eggs, but what you might not know is that once they lay the eggs, they basically leave the males to incubate and raise the chicks, and the females move on to another male to repeat this process. They continuously do this throughout the mating season, just going from male to male, laying the eggs, and then leaving the males to raise them, which the males are the more docile of the species, so it kind of makes sense, but it's basically kind of like the opposite of the majority of mammals or deer or stuff like that, where the males are the ones that go around spreading their seed, but in the cassowary's case, it is the female that is the one diversifying her genetics. So it's very obvious that cassowaries are almost direct descendants from dinosaurs. But size and their Jack the Ripper toes aren't the only similarities. Now is the time to talk about the cassowary's most definitive feature. That feature is the crest or casque on the top of their head. It is quite striking. Many propositions by scientists have been made as to what exactly is the feature of these giant things on their heads. One theory is that they use them for batting through foliage. They're kind of wide and tall, so when it comes to thick rainforests, you kind of need to bat, brush out of the way, which, is, I guess, a possible theory. Another theory is the classic that they might be fighting weapons, but the thing about the cassowaries is that the males are so docile and the females are so aggressive, but not in the way that they fight for males. Literally, the males still have to do all the work of impressing the females, doing the dance and the whole rigmarole, and basically the females just get the cut of the meat. My point here is that there's really no reason for cassowaries to have these defensive weapons. Even if another male cassowary moves in to try and impress another female, from what I read, the male cassowary that was currently there, if he's not up to snuff, he'll just run away. So it's kind of zero. It's kind of just zero for the weapons or defensive features on the cassowary. It's not much of a plausible theory on that one. Possibly the best and most accurate theory comes from biologist Andrew Mack. I don't know if I put Mack or Mark on there. Sorry, dude. He suggested that the horn or casque or whatever is actually a sound amplifier. Mostly because of the fact that cassowaries have a very unique and complex communication structure. They are, at least I believe from what I read, they are one of the most quietest birds, communicating with such shrill and low frequency voices that humans can't even detect them. This even fits with its descendant from dinosaurs kind of theory, because a lot of dinosaurs, like, for example, Lambeosauruses, or Dilophosaurus, or even the Parasaurolophus, all these dinosaurs with these massive crests or horns and stuff, a lot of them, the theories, because these structures were hollow, a lot of the theory is that these were used for communication. But another theory that is also somewhat dinosaur-esque, I guess, is the theory that these horns are meant to regulate body temperature, basically using it as its own anatomical radiator, I guess. This helps keep their temperature high in low temperature places and low in high temperature places, which again, like I said, this is somewhat dinosaur-esque in the way that a lot of the sail dinosaurs, your Spinosaurus, your irritator is another one, where it's an irritator is another sailed dinosaur, or is it the Suchomimus? I think it's the Suchomimus, yeah. That's another big sailed dinosaur, and supposedly paleontologists have theorized that they use those to regulate body heat. Nonetheless, whatever the use for this casque is, it is still a neat remnant of the beings that these birds descended from. Cassowaries very much can be dangerous, nobody's saying that, but also at the same time, they are very beautiful and just amazing remnants of the past. Just like my goose that I have out back. I have great respect for their existence and how long they have walked this earth. It really is incredible. Well, yeah, when you, considering how much Jurassic Park scared people, particularly the velociraptors scared people. I'm sure a lot of people were scared by the T-Rex. I think that's true, but the intelligence of the velociraptor and how they hunted, how they worked, was definitely a big scare factor in the movie, and these animals are about as close as one can really get to that. To a velociraptor, yes. They literally have the toes. Right, that first inner middle toe there. Right, the inner toe is literally a weapon meant for fucking a person up. Right. And they're these big giant bird things, and no, they don't eat They don't eat people per se, but they could. I think there's a reason that they were they were almost blown off the face of the earth, and then they were like, no, we're gonna make them eat corn instead. It's basically God nerfing dinosaurs because you're like, these people are too overpowered. Right? Like I said, if we are lucky in the way that if we were not, like, Alan Grant had something in the third movie when he's like, if these creatures continued to exist, that they would quite likely become the dominant species on the planet. Like, just imagine if the cassowary had the intelligence of a raven or a crow. These birds are very highly intelligent, problem-solving level intelligence. Imagine a crow's brain in the head of a cassowary, dude. And with the predatory behaviors of, say, an eagle or a raptor. Fucking terrify me. Yeah. Jurassic Park, more like modern park. This is not as cool. No, it's not, but hence to the point. Hence to the point that cassowaries, literally modern day velociraptors, if you really think about it. Dinosaurs may be extinct, but cassowaries remind us that they are not wholly gone. So, the next time you watch Jurassic Park, keep in mind that not everything in it is inaccurate, as a lot of dino nerds pointed out. They always point out how inaccurate it is, but at the same time, some of it is not inaccurate. And even so, given where you live in the world, you may just be a victim of the modern day velociraptor. That is the cassowary. So, that was the video on cassowaries. Hopefully, I will see you guys in the next video, where I teach Gustav to honk the words to Bohemian Rhapsody. Peace!